नमस्कार. सडेतोड नायक कार्यावळीत तुमकां सगळ्यांक येवकार दिता. आमी ह्या कार्यावळीत पर्यावरणा संदर्भात वेगवेगळे विशय सतत घेतल्यात आनी इतलेंच न्ही तर गोंय वाचोवन दवरपा संदर्भात जें कितें घडटा ताजें आमी सतत बोट दवरत ताजेर सतत संघर्श करपाचें आव्हान लोकांक करीत आसात आनी तज्ञांक घेवन ह्या विशयाचेर आमी सतत चर्चा केल्या. आज तितलोच म्हत्वाचो विशय आमी तुमच्या मुखार घेवन आयल्यात आनी हो विशय आसा गोंयची जमनी सांबाळपा संदर्भात. तुमी जाणा आसतले हालींच गोंय सरकारान कांय बदल लँड कायद्यान भितर करपाचें सुचित केलां. तातूंत भितर गोवा लँड डेव्हलपमेंट एंड बिल्डींग कन्स्ट्रक्शन रेग्युलरायझेशन 2023 हो एक म्हत्वाचो बदल येता आनी तातूंत भितर गोंयच्यो पळय ज्यो जमनी आसात विशेश करून फार्म लँड त्यो रुपांतरीत करून थंय वेगवेगळे तरेच्यो पयलीं फक्त फार्म लँड थंय फार्म हावज येवपाक परवानगी आशिल्ली. आतां गोल्फ कोर्स धरून ते फिल्म सिटी धरून सगळे थंय येवं शकता अशे तरेचो एक उपाय केला आनी ताका सिवील सोसायटी विरोध करता. गोंयांत खुबशे कडेन सिवील सोसायटीचे वेगवेगळे वांगडी विशेष करून गोवा बचाव अभियान गोंय फुडले पिळगे खातीर ह्यो संघटना ताजे संदर्भात बोवाळ करीत आसात आनी त्याच विशयाचेर चर्चा करूंक कांय म्हत्वाचे तज्ञ आमच्या स्टुडियोन आयिल्ले आसात. हांव तुमची वळख करून दितां. आमचे मदीं आसा डीन द क्रूज. डीन बाब हे स्वता पर्यावरणाच्या चळवळीन खूब मुखार आसात. गोवा फावंडेशन धरून ते वेगवेगळ्या चळवळीन सतत संघर्श करीत गोंय वाचोवपा संदर्भात ते वेगवेगळे उलया मारीत आसतात. आमचे मदीं आसात ताहीर नोरोना जे कन्झर्वेशन स्वता आर्किटेक्ट स्वता टाउन प्लॅनिंग संदर्भातलो एक अभ्यासक. आमचे मदीं आसा आर्मेनियन बाब रिवेलो जे स्वता आर्किटेक्ट आनी ह्या विशयातले एक जागृत अशे नागरीक आनी ह्या विशयाचेर सतत आवाज उठयतात. आनी आमचे मदीं आसात राजीव बाब सुकटणकार जे TCP बोर्डाचे वांगडी आसात जे आमकां सरकारी बाजू जे आमकां TCP टाउन प्लॅनिंग बोर्ड ह्या संदर्भात कितें विचार करता ते ताजी बाजू मांडटले. हांव सगळ्यान पयलीं डीन दिबाब तुमचे कडेन वता. म्हाका तुमचे कडेन जाय की गोंयची सिवील सोसायटी ह्या संदर्भात सतत संघर्श करता. हो नवो सुदारणा जी आतां येवपाची आसा ती गोंयाक वायट फुडले पिळगे खातीर वायट. आमचें गोंय येदें ल्हान तें सांबाळून दवरपाचे नदरेन आतां जितल्यो पळय बिल्डिंगो येवपा तितल्यो बिल्डिंगो जाल्यो जितली रुपांतर करपा तितली जाली. आतां फॉरेस्ट आनी थोडे फार्म लँड थोडे शेतां भाटां उरल्यात ती काबार करून दवरपाची काय कितें अशे तरेचो प्रश्न तुमी करतात. म्हाका ह्या तुमची जी पळय कितें आतां पवित्र आहा त्या विशींची तुमची भुमिका तुमचो स्टँड तुमी क्लियर करचो अशें म्हाका.
कितें आतां 2006 आनी ते 2011 प्लॅन ते केले ते सगळे रस्त्यान आयले ते बंद कर.
येस.
आतां तीन एरो जो काडटात तांणी वन इज द चेंज टू द टाउन प्लॅनिंग एक्ट इटसेल्फ which is given under 16B and now it's changed to 17(2).
Yes.
There is the ODPs, which now the regional plan has a subset called the ODPs. The regional plan, so the development of ODPs is within the settlement areas of the regional plan. And third is the building regulations. Now there have been changes. There were 17 changes to the building regulation earlier, withdrawn. Now they've come back, 11 changes have come back to thing. And building regulations is a very simple thing of, one change here, one word here, whatever. Yeah. But when you read it together, it can make a big impact on what is happening in Goa. So it's something that we need to be completely concerned about. Yeah. And it's almost to the extent of, it is the complete subversion of the regional plan.
Okay.
It means it can destroy the regional plan completely. Okay. Because a regional plan is a sacrosanct document. It needs to be respected. It took 4 years to prepare the regional plan.
Yes.
And with all departments coming together. So it needs to be taken into account and protect Goa. Because the regional plan is not just about settlement areas, all the eco-sensitive areas. So that is very important that we need to protect it.
Mr. Tahir, government म्हणटा की आमकां डेव्हलपमेंट जाय, पॉप्युलेशन वाडटा, आमकां टुरिजमा खातीर वेगवेगळे इंडस्ट्री गोंयांत आयिल्ले जाय. सो वाय यू आर ऑपोजींग इट? You are not opposing the development because minister says always this is the point, no? You are opposing the development.
How town planning shikla.
Aye.
My job prospects in Goa are going to be only if there is development.
Yes.
But what we learn in planning is very simple. You develop where development is possible, and where development is not possible, you have to leave those lands as eco-sensitive zones to absorb the risk of climate change. Ata in Goa, one of the good things, regional plan can come for many criticisms, but one important vishay that they captured in the regional plan was eco-sensitive zones. Amka zai te khazan land, paddy fields, and steep slopes all got marked in that plan. And natural cover, forest-like areas, zaite, all of these areas got marked there. These areas now are often considered as agriculture ka orchard zone But the core principle of them is not only to provide food security for Goa, but also because these areas are very important when there is our monsoon rains where we receive so much of rain, landslides, zaite disasters. These areas protect our settlement land from disasters, because if our settlement land starts to flood, starts to sink like what we see in Uttarakhand, then we lose the value of that. So whenever we are talking about planning has to happen in a holistic manner. And planning has to happen in such a way that the people of the village or city can see the impacts of the plan. Now, so when you do a regional plan, when you do an ODP, how majo gav poipak shakta, I can see where the new proposed roads are coming. I can see where the zones are being updated, where more FAR is being given. I can see, and maka khobar asa, as any citizen, okay, if you give too much of a height to this area and too many houses come here, maka traffic problems atle, maka flooding problems atle. I can see that. What these amendments do is they subvert the planning process.
Yes, I will come to you. Armenia Bab, आता तुम्ही दोग जाणांचे व्यू ऐकले. तुझे कडेन आनी कितें पॉयंट आहा सांगपा सारको?
I think that planning is a much deeper process than just making small shifts here, shifts there, and it's a process that is participatory. It has happened in the past. It's a participatory process. The problem is that when you subvert this process, and you start creating these little doors and windows to bring changes into that, then you start destroying whatever has been done through a much bigger participation.
आणि जाता अशें की कितें तरी अल्टिरियर मोटीव तातूंत आसा अशें एक दिसता. तूं प्लॅनिंगांतल्यान भायर वचून जेन्ना कितें अमेंडमेंट करता तेन्ना.
That is for sure. Yes. That there has to be another motive in this other than planning. On the other hand, there could be also some genuine motives, but I'm not getting into that. The point is that genuine motives, if you look at them, they will come through another process. They won't come to the processes that have been created over here. Yeah. The danger, like we said, is a whole ecological destruction, a whole tampering of the existing agricultural and our waterways and all our systems that are connected to what we are doing over there, the drainage of our water. And that's like flooding, all these problems.
Goa is a very sensitive place, and because of the climate change, Goa is going to be, in the destructive some kind of a.
Yes, and what you were saying, that there's a bigger requirement for growth of our population, etc. I don't really know. You see, the problem is that on one hand, they're saying in Panjim the population has dropped to 70,000 people. It was larger. So why is the population dropping? Why are we having so many vacant buildings? Why are we having so much speculation on Goan houses and Goan properties? There has to be a balanced way of addressing these things.
Exactly. Good point. I'll come to you. Raju Bab Subhankar. हांव जाणा चड तूं टेन्शन घेवपाची गरज ना. 3 जाण सामके ह्या क्षेत्रांतले तज्ञ बसल्यात, आनी तज्ञ म्हणजे परस हांव म्हणटा की ते गोंयचो तांकां मोगाचो एक वांटो आशिल्ले हे सगळे लोक ते वेगवेगळ्या क्षेत्रांत काम करतात. आनी तूं गव्हर्मेंट रिप्रेझेंट करतास, TCP बोर्ड, पण तूं स्वता एक आर्किटेक्ट. सो म्हाका तुजे कडल्यान, आनी तूं गव्हर्मेंट काय सर्वंट न्ही, तूं TCP बोर्डा वयलो एक प्रायवेट मेंबर, एक इंडिपेंडंट मेंबर तूं. सो हांव तुजे कडेन दोनी अपेक्षा करता. तूं TCP बोर्डार राव म्हणटकीर तुवें TCPचें समर्थन करपाक जायी, पण गोंयचोय मोग तुवें व्यक्त करचो अशें म्हाका दिसता. सो हें सगळें आयकल्या उपरांत तुका कितें दिसता की हो अमेंडमेंट सरकार कित्याक हाडूंक सोदता?
गोंयचो मोग हो सगळ्यांक आसता.
हय.
आनी आर्किटेक्ट म्हणलें जाल्यार आमी त्या फिल्डान आशिल्ल्यान आमकां प्रत्येक गोश्ट कळटा की वायट खंयची जाता, बरी खंयची जाता.
बरोबर.
पूण हे जे अमेंडमेंटाचेर जर आमी उलयलें जायत जाल्यार हे रेग्युलेशन, गोवा लँड डेव्हलपमेंट बिल्डींग कन्स्ट्रक्शन रेग्युलेशन, हे 2010 नोटिफाय जाल्लें. ताजे नंतर म्हाका दिसता हो 7वो अमेंडमेंट आसा. आनी अशे बारीक सारीक अमेंडमेंट हे हाडचे पडटा गव्हर्मेंटा जेन्ना दिसता की हे गरज आसा, कित्याक हे जेन्ना हे रूल केल्ले तेन्ना ताची गरज तेन्ना कळ्ळी नाशिल्ली. पूण ओवर अ पिरियड ज्यो निड्स आसात, गव्हर्मेंटाक दिसता की बाकीच्या खंयच्या कामां लागून हे अमेंडमेंट हाडपा जाय, तेन्ना हे गव्हर्मेंटान प्रपोज केल्ले आसात. आनी हे प्रपोज करून पब्लिका खातीर ऑब्जेक्शन सजेशनां दिल्ले, ते फाटले 6 फावट केल्ले, ते 7वे फावट केल्ले आसात. सो त्या प्रमाणे प्रत्येक मनशाक रायट आसा, जे कोणाक कन्सर्न आसा गोंयचे बद्दल, तांकां रायट आसा की ते आपल्या सजेशन थंय घालची. ते सजेशन घेवन गव्हर्मेंट परती ताका एक सब कमिटी आसा. ते सब कमिटी भितर क्रेडाय आसा, टावन प्लॅनिंग आसा, IIA आसा, सगळे आसात. तांणी डिसिजन घेतकीर ह्या सजेशन ऑब्जेक्शनाचेर मागीर ते स्टेरींग कमिटी वतले आनी मागीर ते कन्फर्म जातले. पूण हो प्रोसेस फक्त इनिशियल आसा, हे लोकां मुखार दवरला. बाकीचे थोडे स्टेटींनी अशें आसता की ते पब्लीक सजेशन आनी ऑब्जेक्शनां दवरत ना, ते डायरेक्टली नोटिफाय करतात. पूण हांगा आमी डेमोक्रेटीक प्रोसेस गव्हर्मेंटान त्या प्रमाणे केला आनी तो आतां ऑब्जेक्शन सजेशन जातकीर आपल्याला काय कितें ऑब्जेक्शन आसा ते प्रत्येकाच्यान घालपाक जाता.
डीन बाब, कॅन यू आन्सर?
See, the problem is that these same sort of amendments have come earlier. 17 amendments have come, tested the waters, they pulled back. Now, there's a reason they pulled back. Maybe they're bad. Now, why have they come again? That is the big question, no? So, like the farmhouse regulation, before they tried farmhouses, 15% of the land. Now they pulled it back by 10%.
Yes.
So they're testing the water, see how much can we give, how much people will object and things like that.
Yes.
So we need to object. It's very right that he's saying that, you know, people, it's meant for feedback. But it's something which when we analyze it, it seems like one change in the word, one delete one I, put one F over your clause F. But you have to keep on going back to the book and see what is the impact. Now the impact is tremendous. Like we look at the farmhouse regulation now. The farmhouse regulation before it was 5%. It was withdrawn. For a long time, many years it was withdrawn. There was an earlier notification which says that in Orchard area, there's 50 square meters allowed for a farmer's house. In Maharashtra, it is 150 square meters that is allowed for a farmer's house. Now suddenly they made it 500 square meters. Then they added another notification, made it 1,000 square meters. Now 1,000 square meters. Adil Shah Palace footprint is 1,200 square meters. So you can imagine 1,000 square meter houses. We did an analysis of say Arpura, Asagaon, whatever. Now based on the orchard land is there, we can have 300, 1,000 square meter farmhouses over there. Now the danger is also in that clause, for example, it says that the land can be subdivided further. Now imagine you have this massive piece, 1 lakh square meters of land. You do whatever farmhouse over here. It's a subdivided further. You build a farmhouse in one corner, you cut it off over there, sell it off. You still have that much left over here. You subdivide it again. So that's a danger. There's no clarification of how this, when they remove the thing, it can be subdivided further, means it's up to that danger. So there is these clauses which are very insidiously put over there, you know, which allows for reinterpretation around the top. Another very dangerous clause is paddy fields. You can build in paddy fields, except low-lying. Now, who's going to tell you it is low-lying or not low-lying? Somebody fill it in and say, not low-lying. So कितें करता?
म्हाका आर्मेनिया बाब तूं एक तुजे कडल्यान म्हाका जाय आशिल्लें अशें की आमची लिमिटेड शेतां उरल्यांत, पूण आमी ते शेतां कसनात, तशें आतां पडंग दवरल्यात. सो एग्रीकल्चर लोक करच नात, ती पडंग दवरचे परस थंय थोडे डेवलपमेंट आयल्यार वॉट इज द प्रॉब्लेम? विशेषता डेवलपमेंट प्रेशर खंय तिसवाडी आसा, सालसेत आसा, बार्देस आसा. सो डेवलपमेंट प्रोसेस हो जायत रावपाक जाय काय ना, काय आमी टोटल स्टँड स्टील आतां आनी कांय करप ना?
So my question is whether these have to be addressed by the town planning department or they have to be addressed by the agriculture department, all right, and other departments also. To begin with, we started with the Agricultural Tenancy Act. What happened is in the Agricultural Tenancy Act, the agricultural tenant now is for perennial, for the rest of his this thing. Life he continues to be a tenant and his descendants continue to be a tenant. All right? The families have moved out of agriculture, they have moved into various professions. They are no longer willing to go there, but they are holding on to that because you have created now a speculative price on agricultural land, which means the same land which was for 200 rupees is now selling for 20,000 rupees. So they are holding on to that because they know at some point they will get a real estate price. So and they are not releasing it. So agriculture is not happening because of multiple and the complexity of the kind of regulations that have come over a period of time. Unless that is addressed, unless the government looks at it, that agriculture is for agriculture alone, you know, then the speculation will drop. If the speculation drops, then there's other flexibility and things like that. And in agriculture,
but the government can pass a law. This land will never be converted. आमी आतां गोंय आहा
how long are your laws going to last? You know, they come. The whole regulation has got 10 amendments since they came out in 2020, in 2010. Some 9 regulations have come over there. Amendments.
This is not
the
fair.
government is constantly correcting.
Exactly.
Finally, a 6-meter road will become 5-meter road in the next amendment. Will become a 4-meter road, 3-meter. Finally, they'll say, okay, if you have a pine ward, you can have 20 houses.
This is the point की तुम्ही दर 10 वर्सांनी आता 2031 नवो रिजनल प्लॅन येवपाचो. त्या मिनिस्टराक घाई कित्याक जावची, ताकतीक कित्याक बेगबेन करपाक अमेंडमेंट रावा न्ही टील 31. तुम्ही जेन्ना 2021 रिजनल प्लॅन हाडलो तो मेरेन जें कितें घेवपा आशिल्लें एक वन क्रेडीट वी हॅव टू गिव टू दिगंबर कामत की ताणें तो प्रोसेस सारको केलो रेग्युलायझेशन ताणें वेगवेगळे तरेची चर्चा वेगवेगळे घटकांक लागीं घेतले एक प्रोसेस बरें लोक एडगर रिबेलो सारको मनीस आयलो एक प्रोसेस चल्लो तो प्रोसेस आयले त्या बरोबर 10-12 एमेंडमेंट 1-2 वर्सां भितर जर येवपा लागले तुका दिसना की प्रत्येक मिनिस्टर किंवा प्रत्येक सरकारान रिजनल प्लॅन नवो तयार जायसर रावपाक जाय ताजे पयलीं ताकतीक करपाक जायना
हे अमेंडमेंट पळय जे आसा हे रिजनल प्लॅनान नाका हे अमेंडमेंट आसा ते गोवा लँड डेव्हलपमेंट बिल्डींग कन्स्ट्रक्शन रेग्युलेशन आतां हे अमेंडमेंट जे थोडी कितें बारीक करेक्शन आशिल्ली ती केली आतां ह्या आनी आरपी भितर संबंध काय ना आरपी आसा तसोच आसा आरपी 2021 तसोच आसा
पूण त्या वर्सान न्ही
डीन
आरपी तुमी करतात तातूंत
ना डीन बाबान पळय सांगलें की फार्म हावस म्हणटे अशें फार्म हावसाचें रेग्युलेशन ऑलरेडी आसा 2000 4,000 स्क्वेअर मिटर 5% बांदपाक मेळटा म्हणल्यार 200 स्क्वेअर मिटर फार्म हावस बांदपाक मेळटा हें ऑलरेडी हातूंत आशिल्लें फार्म हावस नवे इंट्रोड्यूस केल्ले न्ही ओन्ली दे आर ट्रायंग टू रेग्युलर आनी थोडे कितें तरी तातूंत बदल केल्यात काळानुसार बदल हे करचेच पडटात
बदल कितें केले
आतां बदल केले त्या प्रमाणे तुगेल्या फार्म हावसाक तांणी मॅक्सिमम 500 जे आशिल्ले ते 1000 केलो हेच बदल आसा
सो बदल केदो व्हडलो जालो
तितली लँड पळय आसा तितली चड व्हडली आसल्यारूच तो बदल करप न्ही
ना पूण एक तूं
4,000 स्क्वेअर मिटराचे जे प्रोविजन ऑलरेडी आशिल्ले 4,000 200 स्क्वेअर मिटर बांदपाक शकताले फार्म हावस हे ऑलरेडी प्रोविजन आसा त्या प्रमाणे फार्म हावस बांदल्यातय बी लोकांनी
I have a question. If tomorrow from this 10% it becomes 20% or it becomes 30%, the amendment which was pushed in the earlier amendment, among the 17 amendments, they had allowed to the extent of 30%. So if the amendment allows pushing up the amount of area that can be constructed with every amendment, and the people are not alert, all right, then what suddenly happens is that people or the speculators will understand, okay, we just buy and sit on this land for another 10 years, we may be able to get as much FAR as you get in a residential area of 80% or 100%. It's just a question of waiting, it's just a question of manipulating a few things here and there and making sure that things move in the right direction.
Raju, this is a suspicion, you know. People are very suspicious about the government moves.
अशी एक पिक्चर क्रिएट करता की फार्म हावस म्हणटे नाशिल्लेंच फार्म हावस ऑलरेडी आसा रेग्युलेशन आहे पळय हांव दाखयता तुका
नाही पण तुम्ही तातूंत भितर बदल करीत वतात
पळय बदल हे काळानुसार करपाक पडटा
तुमकां रिजनल प्लॅन मेळटा न्ही करपाक तेन्ना
हो रिजनल प्लॅनचो न्ही रिजनल प्लॅन आतां ऑर्चर्डच आसा आमी ऑर्चर्ड चेंज करनात
Clearly says you can build an orchard now. How do you do that?
Yeah.
No.
It was
Then
there
how
in
is
the
it not
orchard.
interfering in the regional
It
plan?
was there. You see the orchard regulation, 2.5%.
It's orchard and now in farm and field area.
No. This is an amendment, but there was already provision to construct farm houses in the orchard land in the 4,000 square meter.
Why was it taken away for some time?
That was taken away, but it was there. Taken away is not bad.
It was kept in abeyance.
It was kept in abeyance.
Okay, so
It
this
was
is
kept in abeyance through an amendment because of public
No,
protest.
kept on amendment with not with the amendments. By and circular, it was kept in abeyance. It was not withdrawn.
Okay. Let me talk so about planning. And why Goa is a little unique. And the states, they don't have, first of all, something like this 2010 Goa land development and building construction regulations. The states, they have a plan. And planachi bitar land development control regulations. Munun tuzo FAR, minimum road widths, height asa tatun. आणि केन्ना allowable uses आणि separately they have building construction regulations जे regulate the buildings for structural safety, openings, lighting, ventilation, width of staircase, sewage. They दोगूय very different things because building regulations can apply across the whole state. They are engineering and architectural. आणि land DCR, development control regulations, जे specific आसा applying to the plan कित्याक आमी planners केन्ना चित्ता we see how much of development we want to put, we adjust the FAR and all of that. In 2010 we took this out of the plan and created this document. Now, any change to this document automatically affects the regional plan, affects the ODPs, affects everything. And this is why I get scared of this type of amendments. Kidak, to me, planning in the plan, like I said before, you can see where the change is happening. Exactly. You can see how it affects you. Over here, I get a gazette notification. I is changed to F. But when I go and look, you realize that, okay, suddenly all of these uses that were never identified during RP or in ODP are allowed in agriculture zone. Suddenly housing is allowed to a high extent. I think it's 7.5% in industrial zones. I mean, industrial zoning kenna katta, we keep them as separate zones. There are hazardous chemicals, noise, they are not conducive for housing. Atta, you have amended it to allow some portion. Any statement of objects and reasons is that we need to provide affordable housing for migrant workers. But you provide that in the settlement land, right?
When we prepared the regional plan, we had clearly two eco-sensitive zones. Eco-sensitive 1, eco-sensitive 2. Eco-sensitive 1 is field areas, forest areas, water bodies, no-go zone. This is to be preserved for future generations. And eco-sensitive 2 is orchard areas, which may include some forest areas. And we mentioned over that these forested areas, which is marked as natural cover, need to be surveyed by the forest department. A lot of those areas being marked as private forest. Now, before they can actually, people see natural cover, they cut the forest. And when the forest department comes to survey, no forest, it's plain orchard, can be developed. Forests are burned, forests are cut. So all these are private forest areas which are valuable to go. We keep on boasting, we have so much of forest areas, but all this will go, especially with this amendment, all these forest areas will be completely devastated. If you look at the ODP, for example, in Para, we looked at one piece of land, which in the regional plan is field, clearly field area, converted in the ODP to settlement area. Now that land was bought at 2,000 rupees a square meter. It was sold at 60,000 rupees a square meter. 30 times the value. So somebody buys a field, goes to town planning part, must change code. 30 times. I mean, where casinos you won't get that sort of profit even. No?
So राजू बाब एक हॉलिस्टीक एप्रोच हो आसचोच पडटलो. फाल्यां जर प्रत्येक हांव हेंच गव्हर्मेंट म्हणना, फाटल्याय गव्हर्मेंटान तेंच केलें. हाजे फुडली गव्हर्मेंट जी येतली ती उरला ते सगळे काबार करून उडयतले. म्हणजे एक नेम आमी आसपाक जाय काय ना की बाबा 10 वर्सांनी बाबा आमी हे बदल करतले, ताजे पयलीं आमी करचे ना. हे अशे तरेचो एप्रोच हो जाय पडटलो काय ना?
अजून कोणेच आरपी भितर बदल करपाचे आतां 16
ना, पण तो म्हणटा तुमी एक ताहिरान एक बरो प्रश्न केलो. तो म्हणटा आरपी जेन्ना जाता तेन्ना आमकां कळटा हांगा अमकें आसतलें, हांगा फॉरेस्ट आसतलें, हांगा शेतां आसतलें, हांगा घर करपाक मेळटलें, हांगा इंडस्ट्रियल इस्टेट. क्लियरली तुमी जेन्ना असो एकूच खंयचो तरी एक अमेंडमेंट घेवन येतात तेन्ना इट्स व्हेरी डिफिकल्ट टू
हाडचें पडटा. तो पळय इंडस्ट्रियल इस्टेटीची
खंयचो गरज निर्माण जाली.
इंडस्ट्रियल थंय वर्कर्स आसतात, दे वर्क इन द शिफ्ट्स.
वर्कर्स आमी तेच प्लॅनिंगच चुकता न्ही आमचें. आमकां मायग्रेट वर्कर जाय कित्याक आमकां जाय, आमकां लागता त्यो इंडस्ट्री आमी हाडप काय ना?
आमकां लागत्यो आनी आसत्यो कितें करप?
आसत्यो ह्यो खंयच्यो ह्यो हालीं हाडल्यात. आतां तुमी एक्सपान्शन पळय आतां करपाक दिलां, इन्व्हेस्टमेंट प्रमोशन
इंडस्ट्रियल इस्टेटीक त्यो थोड्यो आसा थंय मायग्रंट वर्कर आसात.
मायग्रंटच आहात.
सेटलमेंट झोन आयडेंटिफाय करया आनी लो कॉस्ट हाऊसिंग डेव्हलपमेंट प्लॅन.
आतां तांकां शिफ्टींग जे काम करतात तांकां अकोमोडेट करपा खातीर इट इज नॉट अ परमनंट हावसिंग. थंय फ्लॅट्स बांदून विकची ना. दिस नॉट पॉसिबल बिकॉज ते लँड लीज केल्ली आहा बिकॉज ऑफ इंडस्ट्रियल इस्टेट. आतां दिन बाब ते सांगता फॉरेस्टाचें, प्रायवेट फॉरेस्ट आर ऑलरेडी नोटिफायड. They are already notified. Now some areas which the part survey numbers are not coming up. Part survey number, it is full survey number. For example, survey number 17/1 व्हडलो आसा, तो सगळो प्रायवेट फॉरेस्टाक घाल्लो आसा. तो कितलो पर्यंत फॉरेस्ट आसा हाचेरच आतां हें काम चालू आसा. पूण बेजीक जे आशिल्लें तें नोटिफाय जालें प्रायवेट फॉरेस्ट. सो फॉरेस्ट कन्वर्ट करपाचो प्रश्न खंय आसा झाड काडून? कितें आसता, एक वेगळे पिक्चर
हातून भितर मुद्दो असो,
एक वेगळे पिक्चर दिवपाचें एक आसता. हे अमेंडमेंट आनी आरपी संबंध कितें आसा? हो बिल्डिंग रेग्युलेशन एक्ट हातूंत भितर आमी प्रपोज केल्ले, हाचे पयलीं आर्किटेक्ट एसोसिएशनान प्रपोज केल्ले बिकॉज देर वर डिस्क्रिपन्सीज. वी गॉट इट रेक्टिफायड. आतां तेंच रेक्टिफिकेशन
ताजो प्रश्न आहा तो असो की आरपी थंय जा, आरपीक आमी हात लायना. हे अमेंडमेंट म्हणटा करपा जाय.
No, the first and foremost interpretation of the RP, what can be built and what can be built, is in the building regulations. Yeah. So in the building regulations, also in the RP you will have all the zones, A1, A2, the agriculture, you will have all these other zones. In the regulations, if you tweak those, and say that instead of low-lying paddy fields on the marauds and the upper-lying fields, all right, you can build. You already interfered with the RP. Yeah. Similarly, in the RP, we've got road widths, etc., which are the proposed road widths. All right, building permissions are given on the basis of the widths that exist. Now you start tweaking with the regulations for the roads, then you suddenly find that you can build on so much more on the RP. One of the very important things of a government, I'm not even talking about town planning development, is an integrated approach to how they arrive at solutions. Now the town planning department decides on its own that it has to solve the problem of housing. All right. The industrial division decides that okay, we need a solution for housing. All right. I don't see an integrated approach between all of them, because there has to be another body which will sit over there and look, what is the condition of the workers? Is the industrial factory estates, etc., good condition for them to be housed? There's always this issue of hazardous chemicals and etc. Instead of that, they can say within an industrial complex that a whole industrial housing be allowed as a separate plot. This kind of an integrated approach is not happening at all. And in the industrial residential area, each of these this thing can purchase a land. Now you've got a 7.5% open space in industrial lands. Why don't we locate these kind of plots by the side of these things so that we have a better environment? End of the day, whatever we are doing is we are doing it to improve the condition of our human beings, of where they live, how they live, etc., etc. And you're creating this housing, even if it's for a duration of a shift. All right, it's still a very harsh environment that you're putting in. So these people get in, go to work, come back into if whoever's on the night shift continues on the night shift, whoever's on the day shift continues on the day shift. So the only housing he knows is, the only place that he knows is the industry and the hostel in which he's put up in. So there has to be a kind of balance in what we are trying to give the populace of this state. They should have quality of an environment around them. They should have a quality of life for themselves. You know, it can't be one person sitting in an air-conditioned office somewhere who takes these decisions. You know, and this person is a person who has interests. He's a guy who's an industrialist. He says, okay, I want housing for my workers over here. All right, but leaving that aside, what I'm trying to
by changing the wording in the regulations, not by earmarking on the map or on the plan where this is going to be.
Yes.
So opening up maybe for his own personal use, maybe for the welfare of his own workers, but it's created now a loophole for everyone who owns industrial plots, who need not need it, because it's not happened on a plan, it's happened in the regulations.
Yes.
Now you look at the farmhouse thing. I mean, private forest, for example, the private forest survey is not complete. It is still to be done. So if you're allowing farmers, farmhouses to go on over there, before you know those areas which would otherwise have been private forests will be finished up. They quickly build on it.
There is a need in the residential areas. Part residential areas in the industrial estate. बरोबर. आता त्याप्रमाणे जर सजेशन घाले जाय त्याप्रमाणे गव्हर्नमेंट कन्सिडर करपाक शकता न्ही.
So Rajiv,
So there is a need of residential area, some part of the residences in the industrial area. Correct. आता त्याप्रमाणे जर सजेस्ट केले जाल्यार गव्हर्नमेंट ताजेर कन्सिडर करपाक शकता.
So Rajiv, my question is.
दुसरे प्रायव्हेट फॉरेस्टा बद्दल उलयत न्ही. प्रायव्हेट फॉरेस्ट आर ऑलरेडी नोटिफायड. आता खंय प्रश्न आयलो प्रायव्हेट फॉरेस्टांनी नवी करपाचे प्रश्न ना. दे हॅव ऑलरेडी earmarked some areas for the private forest. They have been already notified. Now some parts of the bigger survey numbers are to be decided whether the entire survey number has to be brought under private forest or only that part.
The survey is incomplete, and therefore all these farmhouse regulations will allow for subversion.
The farmhouse is not, it is very clear in this, farmhouse is not allowed in the forest areas. It is only allowed in the orchard areas as per the regional plan.
Correct, those orchards.
As per the, see, it is an amendment. I am talking about these existing rules. As per that annexure 11, the farmhouses are allowed. It is there in the rules, and it is only in the orchard zone.
So till the forest.
Now, the new amendment is on the elevated paddy fields minimum area of 10,000 square meter.
Which any department has elevation data? Does the land survey and records have? No. Does TCP have? No. The Survey of India elevation maps are not available to the public. So who says what field is elevated? I love that you raised the point of elevation.
If it is low lying, you can very well complain.
Yeah, and how will I know if it's low lying? By the time the town planning inspector comes, someone has filled my field. This at least first let the department do a survey of the elevation
there
of
is
the
a
land,
regulation
no?
for filling. There is a regulation for filling.
Rajiv,
By the time
I mean,
action is
you see-
taken, look at Ribandar.
See,
By the
see,
time action is taken, the
illegally-
hill is cut. Now what can you do? Action is initiated.
Then the
but
people should be vigilant.
No,
If somebody is
the
cutting the hill,
government
you should
should be
come.
vigilant.
Government should be vigilant. There's no policing happening in the government. There's absolutely. You go to Arpara, you go to Para.
See, there are
all
many
these places are
cases.
completely-
There are
no
many
action being
cases.
taken.
Government has stopped the hill cutting. Government has stopped the. Now the powers are given to the Mamledas and collectors.
The hill is
If there is
cut.
illegal filling and cutting, they can act.
ना राजू बाबा एक ते म्हणटा तो एक प्रश्न आसाच तो प्रश्न असो की गव्हर्मेंट इज इनसेन्सिटीव अबाउट दिस टायप ऑफ म्हणजे दे आर व्हेरी क्लोज टू बिल्डर्स अँड रियल इस्टेट डेव्हलपर्स हें सामकें जो मंत्री टावन आनी प्लॅनिंगान येता तो मंत्री लोकांच्या बऱ्यापेक्षा परस बिल्डर्स आनी टावन प्लॅनर आनीक जे पळय आमचे रियल इस्टेट पळय जे आसात तांचे खातीर जाय ते एमेंडमेंट करीत रावता एका अर्दान कदाचित तो बऱ्या खातीर करत आसत पूण हे बिल्डर्स आनी हांचेर जेन्ना आमी पातयेवन रावतात तेन्ना त्या लोकांचे बऱ्या करनात आमी पळयलां ताणें ताहिरान म्हणलें एक सामकें खरें कळत ना दोंगर कापून उडयल्यात खंय आतां आमी जर एका अर्दान मांडवीच्या ह्या अर्दान उबे रावत पणजेच्या तो सबंद पळय जो दोंगर आहा तो कापून उडयला इतलो बरो पणजे सिटी मुखाचेर न्हंय ताजे फाटल्यान दोंगर दिसता पण कोण म्हणजे तुका दिसता की ह्यो ज्यो पळय सोशल ऑर्गनायजेशन्स आसात आनी फकत धांवप कोर्टान फकत धांवप सरकारी कंप्लेन करपाक कारण सरकारा कडेन यंत्रणा जाय न्ही
सरकारा कडेन यंत्रणा आसात न्ही कितली जाणांनी बंद केल्ले आसा खुबशे जाणांनी बंदूय जाल्ले आसा न्ही इलिगल हिल कटिंग्स इलिगल फिलिंग्स कंप्लेन करतकीर बंद जाल्ले आसात
Maka ek prashna asa. Shouldn't the government, if they have this regulation 17A, sorry, not to divert from the very dangerous topic of the building amendments, but in our town planning act, ek clause aha 17A, government will prevent the cutting of slopes and stop the filling of low-lying land. But azun the government doesn't have the elevation details. Munun, that who has the burden of proof to prove that a hill has been cut or a land has been filled is always on the people. And kon complaint korunk na, zalar it goes through.
And if you listen to what Rajiv says,
Yes.
is that the burden of correction of the amendments is again on the people, because the government is not going to think things out very deeply before they put out an amendment. Is the people then have to react to that to then bring out the correction amendment, and hopefully if the government is willing to listen, they will correct it. Otherwise, no, you have to go back to.
सी गव्हर्मेंट जेन्ना एक अमेंडमेंट हाडटा तो सगळ्यांचो विचार करून हाडटा स्वता खातीर हाडना तुमगे एक म्हणला आसत स्वता खातीर हाडना एक सगळ्यांचो विचार करीत आसता कित्याक गव्हर्मेंट जेन्ना
सगळ्यांचो म्हळ्यार कोणाचो?
वेन गव्हर्मेंट इज इन पावर
हय
बारीक लोकांचो सुद्दां विचार करपाक जाय तुका एक एग्जांपल सांगता एक 300 स्क्वेअर मिटर प्लॉट आमचे दोग जाण भावाचो आसता ताका फक्त 3 मिटराचो एक्सेस आसा हांव आनी म्हगे भाव घर बांदपाक शकनात आमी कितें सांगता खबर आहा ना तूं एकच किचन दाखोवन पास कर रे मागीर तुमी दोगे एडजस्ट करात आतां हें कोणालें हें बिल्डरालें काम न्ही हें काम सादे लोकांलें अशें खुबश्यो केसीस जाता ह्या रेग्युलेशना भितर तातूंत म्हणिल्लें आसा की 3 मिटर पक्का रोड आसल्यार तुका 2 किचन 2 वेरिंग बांदपाचे तुका स्कोप आसा हातूंत वायट कितें आसा
राजू बाब पळय
बरें
जेन्ना दोन भाव घर मातशें वाडोवंक शकता तेन्ना कोण ऑब्जेक्शन घेना ते ऑब्जेक्शन घेतात एक तूं फार्मलँड आसा शेतां आनी भाट आहा थंय ल्हानशा फार्मार तूं एक येदें व्हडलें बांदता थंय बंगलो बांदता तो विकता मागीर सबंद एरिया ल्हान ल्हान कुडके करून विकपाचें कारस्थान जावूं शकता हांव तुज्या आतांचें हांव वायट तातूंत म्हणना पूण हे फुडाराक जर तूं विचार करत हें अशे तरेन जावूं शकता
1 लाख स्क्वेअर मिटर तुगे समज ऑर्चर्ड लँड आसत जाल्यार तूं कायद्यान ताचे 4,000चे प्लॉट ऑर्चर्ड करून विकपाक शकता कोणें जालो विकपाक शकना हें कायद्यांकच आसा कायद्या भायर ना तें
You could only do it a set limit of
What?
times. In 2019 that amendment was brought in which
2019 you are saying I am talking about this rule
Yeah, in this
2010 it is
you
there
check the 2019 subdivision regulations which got
subdivision
passed.
regulation you see
If
this
you had a 1 lakh square meter property,
you see
you
annexure
could
11
subdivide it
you
only
see
a certain
annexure
number
11
of
they have
times.
referred
You know,
this
it's not in this book.
minimum
because
area of plot is 4,000 maximum permissible coverage 5%
Read when the book was updated. It was last updated in 2018. There is a notification on
But
the town and
nobody
country
has
planning website. which
nobody has
has it.
nobody has withdrawn the
It gets
construction of farmhouses
superseded by this now.
huh? I am talking
I am
about
talking about
this
subdivision
was
of
prepared at the
agricultural
time of
land,
RP
which is not even in the book.
What not nobody in the book? Why they are referring this now in the gazette?
Just look at the Gazette of 2019.
You see the new gazette. You see the new gazette.
So exactly the point I'm coming to is that there are so many amendments that leave you and him confused and leave me also confused.
It's very nice.
And
It was not an amendment what he is referring about. It was that policy was kept on hold because of the corrections. There was some misuse about that policy. Now they have cleared about they are clearly coming about the amendment. Nobody has withdrawn that provision in that this 2010 regulations.
Okay, you talked about keeping roads for poor people with small plots.
Yeah.
But in that same thing, you put for 6 meters, under 6 meters, 8 units, and above 6 meters, 180 units.
Yeah.
180 units.
Now, as per this regulation,
for 6 meter road in any PDA colony, it's minimum 8 meter road. How are you going to have 6 meter
as
road?
per this regulation,
And then-
with 6 meter road, I could have constructed many units.
180,
You tell me where there is the
units.
restriction. Now they have brought the restriction.
180 maximum.
Particular about 20,000 development, they have put 8 meters
So if
regulation.
you have 20,000 square meter plots, one after the other, 180 plus
Yes,
the 180
yes.
plus the 180. How is development of Goa going to happen like this thing? Yeah?
See,
On 6 meter road?
on 8 meters road, they
No,
have
sorry,
changed.
6 meters.
Right of way
They have changed
means
it to
you
8
keep
meters.
3 meters on either side for pavement and surface. You have a 5 meter road.
6 meters
Carriage.
here, 6
See
meters
this.
here. 6 meters, 180 units.
180 is 6 meters. It is already there.
No. I mean,
It is already there.
So how do you expect people to have?
See,
if you
now
are modifying
8
regulations-
meters or greater, 180 units. Now I can propose 180 units on 6 meter road as per this regulation. I am not changing any RP. I am going as per
Have you
this
done a
regulation.
study- Have you done a study of what the impact is on 6 meter road?
See, that study should have done on this while doing this regulation.
So that's the duty of the town planning, right?
Yeah, correct.
So why not?
But the amendment is not wrong. In fact, amendment is giving 8 meters road more than 180 units. So ते वाढवपाकय गव्हर्नमेंटाचे
Sadly, the town planning looks like it's working for builders, not for people.
See,
you
that
know?
is a general concept.
Yeah.
But what government always comes with the amendment for the people's benefit.
आम्ही पळयता लास्ट टाइम जेन्ना अमेंडमेंट येयला more than 1,500 objections were received. Before the subcommittee could scrutinize these amendments, it was repealed. आता we are going to need to submit objections again if people feel that these amendments are wrong. म्हाका दिसता काय these amendments are diluting the planning provisions. कित्याक I cannot see the impact of them in a map in front of my own eyes.
See, everybody has been given due time for objection and suggestion. You suggest for a better thing. You suggest.
बरं तुम्ही
If you are not like, you put objections.
But yeah, objection-
Let subcommittee. There is a II representative. There is a triple ID representative. CREDI representative. Let them work on that.
तुमकां दिसता तुम्ही अमेंडमेंट केले ते गव्हर्मेंटान भितर तो म्हणटा एक्सपर्ट्स आहात ताजेर
असं.
हे सजेशन्स विचारान घेतले
No, but I just want to ask before anything,
Yeah.
Rajiv, what are the studies that they have presented when they made these amendments?
See, this was studied in the steering committee.
What
Now-
are the studies presented? You are in the committee.
No, I
So
am not in steering committee.
What committee?
Steering committee is headed by the chief minister, and they have scrutinized this, and then steering committee has proposed this for the amendment. Propose. It is not implemented yet. It is draft amendment. तुम्ही पोहपा शकता.
No, when they propose
This
it,
is
it
a
means that they
draft
are
regulations.
satisfied, right?
Now everybody has got right to put objections, suggestions on their draft regulations. It is not implemented. Likewise, he is saying government had withdrawn that earlier. Maybe
ओके
it was not a rule. Rule is this. What I have told you regarding farmers is this. Regarding 6 meter road is this.
Yes.
And it is still in force.
सो ताहीर बाब तुका दिसता तुम्ही जे पळय सजेशन करतले ताजो विचार जातलो कारण ही ओपनली सेस की तुम्ही जर केलें एक्सपर्ट कमिटी दिसलें की बाबा दीस इज गोइंग टू बी ए डिझास्टर दे विल विथड्रॉ
See,
इट
expert.
First, let's see who gets appointed to this subcommittee. As on subcommittee notification, I think has not come.
सब कमिटी जालो ना
Subcommittee notification भितर हे
हय.
सगळे असतात. After this process, the subcommittee will be formed.
Okay.
तातूंत भितर CREDI आसता सांग तुका IIA म्हणल्यार आर्किटेक्ट रिप्रेझेंटेटिव्ह, इंजिनियर्स रिप्रेझेंटेटिव्ह असता, बिल्डरांचो रिप्रेझेंटेटिव्ह, ट्रिपल आयडीचो रिप्रेझेंटेटिव्ह असता, सेक्रेटरी असता, चीफ सेक्रेटरी असता. हांची सब कमिटी जाता.
Okay.
हातूंत भितर बेश्टोच कोण पॉलिटिकल येवन करनात. Maybe it is headed by minister or headed by chief minister.
Yes, yes.
So if we look at that 17.2 amendment over there, no? 17.2, which is basically 16B, which is actually in court and kept in abeyance. So in the meantime, they make the 17.2, which is errors. No? Errors, we take that Morji case, which is 65,000 square meters. No? Now this came to the state level committee, which was rejected by the state level committee. So clearly it is not part of settlement area, it is not... So, and how can you now introduce it and say, oh, it was an error? You were already inadvertent error.
16B was an amendment in the town planning.
No, I'm talking about this Morji property now.
Correct.
Yeah.
16B was an amendment in the Town Planning Act brought by the government, and it was not functioned because it is still in the court. It is challenged.
Yes.
Court has not given decision. No permission is issued for the conversion under Section B. People have paid the money. But 17.2 is a provision in the Town Planning Act.
No, you can use whatever technical terms.
It is there. Government has not brought it new.
Okay.
No, but I'm saying when you're modifying and saying you now under error you can change. Then there's no
there
point
are
in having
errors
the-
in
if we- let me complete
2021
one second.
RP.
Yeah.
How you can say there are no errors?
So if errors are minor, error means some
Say
little
errors
small
are
thing.
minor.
Is 65,000 square meters an error when the committee has previously rejected it?
And 65,000 square meters outside of the settlement limit. It's not like it's orchard land surrounded by settlement.
See.
It's not like it's orchard land
So
which
also,
is
Rajiv,
connected by an ODP
There is
road,
also
by a
public
RP
pressure.
road.
There is also a public pressure. Same type of your land is in settlement zone, or same type of my land it is in paddy field. It is not paddy field on the survey records.
Yes.
So that pressure is also there on the
राजीव बाब
government.
आमचो टायम आतां सोंपता आयला जवळ 45 मिनिट्स आमी डिस्कशन केलां. हांव म्हाका निमाणें एक चर्चा करन दिसता ती रिजनल प्लॅन 2031. गव्हर्मेंटान ताकतीक करून अशे तरेचे प्लॅन्स अशे तरेचे एमेंडमेंट हाडचे परस सारको रिजनल प्लॅन सुरू करपाचे नदरेन आतांच्यान तयारी करपाक जाय काय ना?
We can start preparing it.
Yes.
When we did the regional plan 2021, we took 4 years for us to prepare
Exactly.
it. And there has to be great transparency.
Exactly.
As part of the state level committee, I asked for my own data that we went through.
Yeah.
7 years ago, rejected, we have no time. Today I receive another, I made another RTI, today I receive another thing. We have still no time to do things. I'm part of the state level committee, all the decisions that I made over there, the government is not giving me.
Yes.
If they cannot give a person who's participated, spent 4 years preparing a plan, what is the level of transparency? We can see that this is not proper at all.
Yes.
It's definitely something insidious.
See, आजपासून जो रिजनल प्लॅन आसा वो 2011 प्लॅन 2021 प्लॅनच आसलो. तो सगळी ट्रान्सपरन्सी आनी हें करूनच केल्लो
केला.
गेला. सो तो सध्या चालू आसा. आतां गव्हर्मेंटान डिसिजन घेवपा जाय नवो प्लॅन करपाक. अजून काय केलें ना.
बरोबर.
17.2 पळय जें प्रोविजन आहा इट इज ऑलरेडी देर इन द टाउन प्लॅनिंग एक्ट. 16B तर गव्हर्मेंटान वापरलेच ना. इट इज स्टील इन अबेन्स.
Yes.
सो आम्ही रिजनल प्लॅना भायर गेलेच ना. टाउन प्लॅनिंग डिपार्टमेंट रिजनल प्लॅन 2021 भायर गेलेच ना. आता जे एरर्स आसात ते 2021 एरर्स ना म्हण कोण सांगता?
Yes. Yes.
आसात.
आसात.
हे म्हाकाय खबर आसा. कित्याक हांव 2021 घेवनूच हांव म्हजें काम करता.
म्हाका ताहीर आय वॉन्ट ए फायनल स्टेटमेंट फ्रॉम यू. या
माझे पॉयंट एकूच पॉयंट आहा. आमी कित्याक अशे टेक्स्ट अमेंडमेंट हाडटा?
हय.
आमी एक प्लॅन करपाक जाय. You cannot guide development by changing a few words. I don't know how many times I have repeated this. It creates loopholes and it allows people to play around with things. You may think you're helping one person out, you end up opening the door for a lot of malicious intent.
डीन बाब म्हाका तुझे कमेंट जाय.
I think it needs a lot of transparency in the plan. We have to put scientific data together, and preparing 2021, we put all the departments together. Right now, it's a builder's plan. So it's not a people's plan. So we definitely need to object to what is happening and make sure that the people understand that this is nonsense and we have to stop this.
Sri Velu.
So there's right now, according to me, there's a trust deficit.
Yes.
All right. The people who have interests of Goa have distrust in the motives of the government. Yeah, it's up to the government now to work towards building and rebuilding this trust.
Yes.
And if that is worked at, then I can see a lot of positive things coming out of it, including a participative effort between the government and the public.
राजीव सुक्षणकर तूं ह्या चर्चेन आयलो म्हाका बरें दिसलें आनी तूं बरे तरेन अभ्यास करून आयला बरे तरेन तुवें तुजे व्यू मुखार मांडल्यात. म्हाकाय तुजो निमाणो स्टेटमेंट जाय. तुवें सगळें आयकलां. हे सगळे लोक गोंयचे मोगान आयिल्ले लोक डीन बाब ताहीर रिबेलो बाब हे गोंयचो मोग करपी लोक ते तांचे फाटल्यान ते जेन्ना उलयतात तेन्ना तांचे फाटल्यान खंयचोच अल्टिरियर मोटीव ना. तांचे फाटल्यान एकूच की गोंय सांबाळून दवरपाक जाय आनी तो फुडले पिळगेक इतलेंच बरें गोंय मेळपाक जाय. सो तुजें म्हाका निमाणें कमेंट जाय ह्या संदर्भात तुका. हय,
गोंय सांबाळपाक जो गोंयकार आसा ताका गोंय सांबाळिल्लेंच जाय न्ही.
सारकें.
गोंय कोणाक वाट लावपाची नाका.
हय,
पूण कितें आसा प्रत्येकाचो दृश्टिकोन वेगळो आसता. जो कितें करतात ते त्या दृश्टीन करतात. पळय आतां मुद्दम म्हणलें हांणी की अजून आरपी काय चेंज केलो ना. म्हगे एकच स्टेटमेंट आसा अजून ओडीपी केला सर आरपी तसोच न्ही. सो थंय चेंज करून आनी नवो इंट्रोड्यूस करपाचो प्रश्न काय आलो.
न्ही आरपी चेंज करतात पूण तुमी मदीं मदीं जे कितें एमेंडमेंट हाडटात ताका लागून
अमेंडमेंट फॉर द रुल्स हे पळय हे अमेंडमेंट हाडचेच पडटात. आमी जेन्ना प्रॅक्टीस करता वी गेट अ प्रॅक्टिकल डिफिकल्टीज रिगार्डींग दीस हाजी पळय ते एक्सप्लेनेशन आसा थोडी गोश्टी आसा तो तातूंत क्लियर जाल्ली ना. ताका लागून हे अमेंडमेंट हाडचे पडटात. तुमी पळया फाटले 6 अमेंडमेंट. दीस इज द 7th अमेंडमेंट. वॉट इज सेईंग दॅट वॉज विथड्रॉन.
9 amendments, Rajiv.
No, 7. I confirm. This is 7th amendment. Because of the setback, because of the dead wall, there were a lot of amendments.
सो तुमी अशे तरेचे एक लूप होल सदांच दवरतले अशें
Loophole
जालें.
न्ही.
रिजनल प्लॅन केलो
पळय.
ताका हात लायना म्हणटले आनी तुमी चेंजीस करीत रावतले.
लूप होल म्हणल्यार हो पयलींच्या गव्हर्मेंटान केल्लो.
म्हणजे कोणाय गव्हर्मेंट इज ए कंटिन्युअस प्रोसेस. पयलींच्या गव्हर्मेंटाक यू कॅन ब्लेम.
2012 गव्हर्मेंटान केल्लो.
हय.
आजूर गव्हर्मेंट इज अ कंटिन्युअस प्रोसेस.
Correct.
वॉट एव्हर मिस्टेक्स आर डन बाय द गव्हर्मेंट वी
तुम्ही
हॅव
तो
टू रेक्टिफाय.
rectify
वॉट एव्हर
केलं.
मिस्टेक्स आर डन इन द आरपी वी हॅव टू रेक्टिफाय.
करेक्ट.
माझे एक
It is the responsibility of the department as well as town planning board.
ओके तू निमाणा तुका आतां.
Once again, just talking about why these regulations, हाचे भितर दोन आसा, building regulations आणि land development regulations. जायते past amendments are mostly, as Rajiv just said, building regulations around the wall thickness, around the setbacks. They are not concerning planning. Most of the past amendments. आता हे amendments are actually concerning the planning of course.
Yes.
आणि त्याच प्रमाणे I am very worried.
व्हेरी नायस. इतल्याच ताहिराचे ह्या स्टेटमेंटाचेर हांव आयची ही चर्चा सोंपयतां. चर्चेन भितर जे हांगा तज्ञ हांगा पार्टिसिपेट जाले तांकां हांव देव बरें करूं म्हणटा. पूण म्हत्वाची गजाल ताणी जी पळय सादूरता हेचे पळय जे आमकां एक इशारो दिला तो खूब इम्पॉर्टंट. ताणें म्हणलां की रिजनल प्लॅन तुमी पास करतात पूण रिजनल प्लॅना नंतर जे पळय सुदारणा किंवा बारीक बारीक बदल करीत वतात ते घातक. आमकां जाय एक रिजनल हॉलिस्टीक प्लॅन करून तो 20 वर्सां खातीर चलिल्लो. गोंय फुडले पिळगे खातीर कशें सांबाळून दवरप. गोंयान भितर भायले कामगार येतात इंडस्ट्रियल पॉलिसी म्हणून करप. भायल्यान आमकां गोंयकारांक कोणाक पडूंक वचना. भायल्यान लोक येत आसात. मोठ्या प्रमाणाचेर जमनी आमी रुपांतरीत करीत आसात. मोठ्या प्रमाणाचेर शेत जमनी ना जात चल्ल्यात. म्हणजे गोंय फुडल्या 20 वर्सांत कशें रूप घेतलें अशे तरेचे बारीक बारीक जेन्ना बदल करतात तेन्ना फुडें कशें बदलतलें गोंय हाच्या संदर्भांत आमकां कांयच सोलूच मेळना. ताका लागून ताहीर किंवा डीन बाब किंवा रिबेलो बाब म्हणटात ते तांणी म्हणलें त्या प्रमाण गोंय जर फुडले पिळगे खातीर सांबाळून दवरपाक हे सगळे जे पळय बदल करतात ते लोकांक विचारून करपाक जाय. आनी लोकांक विचारून करपाचो जो पळय प्रोसेस आसा तो प्रोसेस दर 20 वर्सां नंतर तर जावपाकूच जाय. तुम्ही सगळे आमचे ह्या चर्चेन भितर वांटेकार जाले. डीन बाब, ताहीर बाब, रिबेलो बाब आनी राजू तुका खाशेले तुका उपकार मानता. तूं हे चर्चेन बरे तरेन तुवें किल्लो लडयलो. पळयत रावात गोमंतक TV.